Well, good evening. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening. And here we are. The War Measures Act has been invoked by the Führer, Trudeau, and his sidekick, Freeland. And here is probably my favourite picture of the three of them. Theresa Tam, Chrystia Freeland, and Justin Trudeau all goose-stepping their way into globalism. So if you ever wanted to see what globalism looks like, this is exactly what it looks like as it rolls out. It really is just another name for the Fourth Reich. The Third Reich never really ended. All those leaders and so on and so forth, they were all dispersed around the world, and you know, they loved Nazis and they loved Hitler, and so they have been continually reforming that model. And Klaus Schwab is now the head through the World Economic Forum, and he is now your new Adolf. And the Führer, Trudeau, seems to think that he can just invoke the War Measures Act at will. Now, I'm going to call it the War Measures Act. They call it the Emergency Measures Act now. That was since 1988. But really, you know, the War Measures Act is a better name because it reminds you of how serious the situation has to be to invoke this act. Now, some of the insidious things that they have put into this act is the ability to seize and freeze your funds, suspend your bank account, if you are suspected of aiding the truckers or terrorism, because I think they have relabeled them as terrorists. And whether we have forgotten or not, you remember all those rules that were brought in with 9/11 in 2001, that if you are designated as a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, you all of a sudden fall under a whole new set of laws. You lose habeas corpus. They don't have to tell you with what you are charged. You can't have access to a lawyer, and they can hold you indefinitely. So we're moving into very dangerous territory. And for those of you who haven't read history, this is not unlike the Nazification of Germany. Once the Jews were made persona non grata, and basically they had no personhood. You know, they had no agency, and so all of their property was seized under the Nazification of Germany. Look it up, it's on Wikipedia. And this is what's happening now with anybody that disagrees with the government. And that is why this is so dangerous. Firstly, because the definitions of suspected are so broad as to be nebulous. Anybody could be suspected. Anyone is suspicious. And because the banks do not have to have a court order, the banks alone, if they have a suspicion. So what about that teller that you had that run-in with because you thought she was maybe not doing her job properly, or giving you some kind of heartache there? What about the bank manager you had the argument with over the bank loan? What about the person who is late on their payments? You see, all they have to do is suspect you, and your bank account is suspended, your assets are frozen, you're a non-person. And what are you going to do then? So all I can suggest to people, who are in that situation, if you donated to GoFundMe or GiveSendGo, all of that data has been now hacked out of there. They know everyone's name and address, and I would at least have some cash on hand. Because they can seize it all. They can just shut down your account and you will not be able to access any of that money. And it will take time. It will take time to open that up again. So you need to have some cash on hand. And if that means, draining some of your savings or so on and so forth, not financial advice, but, you can see, here is a clip from Chrystia Freeland. Okay, and she's telling you that they are going to seize your assets. Anybody, whether it's corporations, individuals, whether it is in the US or in Canada. Okay, let's just take a little listen to this clip. It's about 3 minutes long, and boy, if this doesn't knock you back on your heels, I don't know what will. Okie dokie, here we go.
As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FINTRAC, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FINTRAC. This will help mitigate the risk that these platforms receive illicit funds, increase the quality and quantity of intelligence received by FINTRAC, and make more information available to support investigations by law enforcement into these illegal blockades. We are making these changes because we know that these platforms are being used to support illegal blockades and illegal activity, which is damaging the Canadian economy. The government will also bring forward legislation to provide these authorities to FINTRAC on a permanent basis. Second, the government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith. Federal government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers to ensure that we can all work together to put a stop to the funding of these illegal blockades. This is about following the money. This is about stopping the financing of these illegal blockades. We are today serving notice. If your truck is being used in these illegal blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send your semi-trailers home. The Canadian economy needs them to be doing legitimate work, not to be illegally making us all poorer.
Now, again, for those of you who do not recall history, this is what happened in Germany during the Second World War. Okay, it didn't just start with the Jews. It was the gypsies, it was the homosexuals, it was anybody who had a different position, an alternate point of view. Then they came and cleaned out the universities, the professors who were, questioning the narrative. They just got rid of them. Okay, so if you cannot see, it doesn't matter whether you're a Trump supporter, it doesn't matter whether you're a liberal, a socialist, anarchist, I don't care what it is. If this is allowed to go forward, you will never be able to protest again. You will all be treated the same way. And once the truckers are dealt with, once their accounts are frozen, well, the government will need another boogeyman. And you know who that boogeyman is? That boogeyman is you. Okay? So be aware. Do not have that attitude that it's lucky the hole is not in our end of the boat, because it soon will be. That's how this regime works. This is how Stalin operated. This is how Hitler operated. This is Idi Amin, Pol Pot. It doesn't matter which dictator you want to pick. This is how they all operate. They need a boogeyman, and they send the police and the army and whomever after them and vilify them. Once they're taken care of, it's another boogeyman. So this will never end. There will always be something, and this is how the government is going to deal with any kind of protest. So truckers, please stand your ground. I know this is going to be tough. This is going to be rough. The government will back down. Gandhi proved the government will back down. This is so outrageous. It is unbelievable. And there still are a couple of opportunities here. Now, once this War Measures Act is invoked, it's true, it is in effect from the moment it is invoked, but Trudeau has 7 days with which to get this through the House of Commons, into the Senate, and passed by the Senate for it to become fully effective, or it expires after 7 days. I don't know whether there will be a revolt on the floor of the House of Commons in the Liberal Party, but trust me, everyone should be shaking in their boots at this kind of legislation. And I don't know whether you picked up on this, it was very quick, but Chrystia Freeland said, and we will be making steps to make this permanent. Permanent. That means it'll never go away. There'll be no sunset clauses. Think seriously about the implications of this War Measures Act being invoked. And then think of the fire at the Reichstag and what happened after Hitler was made Chancellor. That was when all the real horrors of the Second World War started happening. Are you ready for that kind of action? If you're not, I urge you to find your voice, to speak up in any way possible. Contact the Senate, contact the Governor General, contact your MP, contact your MPP, contact your councillor, and let them know that this cannot move forward. And it will only be through the weight of the public pressing on the government in a peaceful and a loving manner. But we will press, and we will press hard. And that's how this is going to be resolved, my friends. So please, be an activist. And as I said, if you donated, look out. Be ready. Be ready. I know that I am. Okie dokie, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and share. Please share. And in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.